Okie dokie, everybody. Thanks for being here. Okay. Sending out the text message now. Boop. Away, text message. Go. We're going to get the show started here in just a second, folks. What's up, Psalm 40, Furf, Marcy T, Cindy, Mark, EQO, 26, Denise, Martin, Saltapal, Joel, AI Algorithm, IT. What's up, everybody? Gonna get the show started now in about 40 seconds. So if you have not done so yet, you can always go to canarycry.party, get everything you need. And let me know if you get the text message, because the text message is out. Oh, and if you're considering becoming a producer of the show, which I hope at some point in everybody's tenure enjoying the show, I hope they find a way to put value back in. There's, of course, plenty of ways to do that. But, canarycry.support is one of those ways. You can also create art, all the fun stuff, music, jingles. We love our creative producers. Okay. There we go. I think we're doing it. I think we're going. Let's check. Yep, we're going. All right, everybody. Hold on tight. Let's get this show started.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is January 6th, 2023. We are live to tape on episode 578. And today, AI. Signing on from off the grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, formerly of the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy, live to tape from California to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's emergent phenomena, pseudo-I.
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 Love it. Yeah, well, we got a great show today. I don't know. It's Friday. That's nice. So we'll have a little dance party about that in a bit. But I think we should just get straight to it, Gonz. What do you say?
Yeah, that's fine. You want to...
But first, a quick disclaimer.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up,
YouTube. That's right, and just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys. That's right, we are good boys. And with that, let me give you a rundown on what to expect today, folks.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
Yep, we're going to be starting out with an update on you guessed it, AI. Some more ChatGPT info and some examples of how AI is, well, going to save us from having to pay traffic tickets and things like that. No longer do we need to rely on a highly trained human individual to protect us in court. But we've got some current events here showing us we are moving into the future. Then checking in with Flippy, and oh man, this is a fun one. I hope you caught the last couple episodes, because Flippy is getting put through some tests to see if indeed this robot arm is conscious or at least self-aware. Then we'll be checking in on the TikTok situation. Oh, it's not just the brains of young children that are being harvested for all of their data for the Chinese Communist Party, but how TikTok, or how banning TikTok, could put higher education at risk. Then we will learn about the intrepid, brave explorers that are preparing not to go into space or perhaps deep beneath the ocean, but other dimensions. Then second half of show, some rowdy discussion going on in the mainstream about the spike protein. What does it mean? What has it mean? And then we've got a little bit of a revisionist history coming from an old favorite over at the Salk Institute for us. They'll be checking in with honeybees and what the risk is there when it comes to vaccination. And then CRISPR, apparently CRISPR was not invented, but it was discovered. How long has CRISPR been crawling around this dirt pile we call Earth? And then at the end, a nice little, I would say, climax to the Antarctica theories we have been crafting over the years, and what Klaus has to say about that. But first, Guns, our lead stories.
I forgot what our lead story was.
Artificial intelligence!
The danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads, by a lot.
A lot.
Let's get drawn into your intro. I want to talk about all these topics right then and there. But yeah, let's start off with some AI news. This is Forbes.com. ChatGPT creator OpenAI discussing offer valuing company at $29 billion, report says. $29 billion.
It's impressive.
That is very impressive.
Well, of course, when Google, the sort of current monstrosity, economic monstrosity that rules the world, is afraid of you and your product, you're going to be valued pretty high.
Sure. Yeah. Key facts about OpenAI's Founders Fund and Thrive Capital venture capital firms are reportedly in talks to buy at least $300 million in shares. The deal would be more than double a 2021 tender offer for shares that valued the company around $14 billion, according to the journal. OpenAI is not publicly traded, but many of the shares could reportedly be purchased from shareholders like employees. OpenAI declined to comment or confirm the report. But yeah, the valuation here at $29 billion, as some people were pointing out, puts not ChatGPT, but OpenAI, number 6 on the unicorn list. You got SpaceX up there at $137 billion, Stripe, Epic Games, Databricks, Fanatics, and at number 6, OpenAI would slip in. So big deal. I mean, it
is a big deal. I mean, again, it makes sense. We just read that article where Google is afraid of OpenAI's product. Yeah. That would be like, what would happen, Gons? What would happen to this podcast if tomorrow Joe Rogan came out and said, "Oh man, I mean, I'm pretty good, but those guys over at Canary Cry News Talk, they're gonna put me out of business. They're the real deal."
We'd get crazy new producers. We'd get venture capital attention.
Yes, it would change everything. Still waiting on that endorsement, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty big deal. And it is some sort of I don't know. We talk about turning points and stuff. I'm not going to talk about turning points, but at least is a checkpoint. You know, you're playing a game, you got to get to the checkpoint. It is at least a checkpoint in the unfolding dystopia of AI being the most powerful force, at least economically, in the world.
Yeah, and there are already lists of how to use AI to be more productive. And I have a list here, you know, Sheet Plus, Deep Code, Accio, Autocode, OpenAI Codex, Deep Opinion. These are all tools that one can use in their productivity to, you know, speed up your work. So great job.
Okay.
Hey, I looked up what is Canary Cry News Talk on the public chat GPT thing, which I understand is not the best thing to do because, you know, it's better to have an account, I guess. But I asked, what is Canary Cry News Talk? It said, I'm sorry, but I don't have any information about a news talk program called Canary Cry News Talk. Could you provide more context or clarify what you're asking about? So
yeah,
not
you did need
no
to
public,
do that, Guns, but it's okay because you had not gone through the tutorial teaching you how to speak to the robot.
Am I being a chattist?
A little obtuse, yes. Okay. No, there's special ways you must talk to the robot. Luckily for all of us, I did go through the tutorials on how to speak to the robot. So specifically, let's see. I had a couple different versions of the question. At first, I was saying, tell me about the podcast Canary Cry News Talk. Okay, I was just trying to see what it had on the show. And it says the robot responded, "Canary Cry News Talk is a podcast hosted by Chris and Sharij of the Canary Cry Radio Show."
Who are Chris and Sharij?
I have no idea who Chris and Sharij is, but I thought it was actually pretty impressive that the ChatGPT did know that Canary Cry News Talk is hosted by the same hosts as Canary Cry Radio. I thought that was kind of a subtle and pretty impressive thing to catch. The podcast covers topics of faith, culture, and science, as well as news and current events. It also features interviews with guests from around the world. Not quite, but okay. Along with a variety of interesting topics, the podcast is designed to encourage critical thinking and honest dialogue on these topics. So, okay. Still don't know who Chris and Sharij are, but
is that Chris Shilzilla trying to sneak in?
Yeah,
maybe be. Obscure AI version of Chris Shilzilla.
Yeah, I did. I did hone my question. I said, "Tell me about the hosts of the podcast Canary Cry News Talk, Basil and Gons." And I ran this a couple times. Let's see, which one's the best one? I don't know. This one was kind of funny. Basil and Gons are the hosts. This is a robot, by the way. Basil and Gons are the hosts of the podcast Canary Cry News Talk. They are two friends from the Pacific Northwest. Apparently, we're from Seattle now, Gons.
Disinfo yes, agents.
It's not true,
actually, that's okay. I'm okay with people thinking that we're from the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't quite trust everything this robot tells you, but if it gives out good misinformation on how to find us,
misdirections, yeah.
These are two friends from the Pacific Northwest who share an interest in alternative news, culture, and conspiracy theories. They bring a unique perspective to their conversations, as they both have a background in investigative journalism.
Ooh, I don't like that at all.
I don't know about
that. Get
rid
of that. Investigative journalism sets us up for some targets us as journalists. We've never claimed to be journalists.
Some toaster and a bathtub accidents, maybe. Yes, we're not investigative journalists, nor do we have backgrounds in that. And a passion for questioning the status quo. Okay. They often discuss topics such as UFO sightings, ancient mysteries, and the paranormal. Okay, I don't know. Their podcast is geared toward open-minded individuals who are not afraid to think outside of the box. So close.
Well, it's okay. It's okay to make some mistakes, AI.
So there you go. That's $29 billion worth of value right there. So
and
thank you very much, AI.
Yeah. Oh, you said AI. I thought you said may I. I think we have a bad connection. Yeah, so there's another story here. The $29 billion for OpenAI Might be worth it if you have a lawyer on hand. New York Post, robot lawyer powered by AI will help fight speeding ticket as it takes first case in court. It's happening.
Yeah.
The world's first robot lawyer. Yeah, world's first robot lawyer will take a case in court next month with the artificial intelligence legal assistant helping a defendant fight a traffic ticket. The AI billed as, quote, the world's first robot lawyer by the startup that created it, Do Not Pay, that's the name of the company, will run on a smartphone and listen to court arguments in real time before telling the defendant what to say via headphones. The unprecedented hearing is slated to take place sometime next month, but makers of the robot lawyer are not disclosing the location of the court or the name of the defendant. Science and technology publication New Scientist reported that the ticket at the center of the trailblazing case was issued for speeding, and the defendant will only say in court what the AI instructs them to say. Should they lose the case, Do Not Pay has agreed to cover any fines, according to the company's founder and CEO, Joshua Browder. Browder, a Stanford University educated computer scientist. She can't seem to get away from those Stanford folk recently. Launched Do Not Pay in 2015 as a chatbot that provides legal advice to consumers dealing with late fees or fines, but the company pivoted to AI in 2020. And then it goes into some more details that we don't necessarily have to get into. But yeah, it's somebody is going to be defending themselves in court using this court AI. We're here.
Yeah,
We're actually
AI.
doing it. It's taking place.
I will be very curious to see how that goes. Because at that point, lawyers are so expensive. If you can just have an iPhone with an app running and a headphone in your ear, and you getting live AI legal advice as the court hearing is happening, I mean, that would change everything.
Yeah.
Now, this is for a speeding ticket, so fairly
Not too
low
complicated,
stakes.
yeah.
Fairly low stakes.
That's good though.
This guy doesn't have a life sentence on the line or something.
Right. Well, you got to scale. You got to start somewhere and then scale up.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So there was also, let's see here. Nope, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about the New Scientist version of this, which was the original article that published this, I couldn't get around the paywall. It's like their whole AI has already put up their guard on anybody who's trying to get around the paywall. Also, just as a side note, last summer, July 2022, South China Morning Post did report China's court AI reaches every corner of justice system, advising judges and streamlining punishment. So it's already being used from the other side in China.
Well, that's that's interesting because we have talked about AI judges and AI judge assistants and things like that, and sentencing algorithms. So, as is the case, it's fascinating because that has been a core principle of AI for a long time. The sort of most prevalent category of AI previously was the what was the term for it? It was the AI that had it was basically two machines arguing with each other until they reached a conclusion. It was a network. It's called like combative network.
Okay, that kind of rings a bell. Yeah, the different types of neural networks that exist, and
the whole AI was actually two AIs arguing with each other until they came to a conclusion. Right. I haven't heard much about that recently. I don't know if that's the sort of most popular way to do it now. But if you got AI judges and AI lawyers, there's an interesting sort of
who has the better bot?
Yeah, you just let the robots figure out who's guilty and who's not, which you can see to someone who's not really paying attention, would make it more efficient.
Right.
You just let the robots decide. Now, the reason why I don't think this will be used at higher levels, maybe at like speeding tickets and stuff like that, but the U.S. justice system, as is so many justice systems around the world, are sort of predicated on the idea that if you just play your cards right, you can get away with murder. with the technicalities and the this and the that. There's so many ways to get, let off the hook for something you're obviously guilty of. And usually the people who are benefiting from that aspect of our justice system are the rich and powerful people. If you're rich enough, if you're powerful enough, you can afford the lawyers who would go through the painstaking process of basically gaming the system.
Yeah.
Well, if there is a situation where the system cannot be gamed, it will only be applied at the levels all the way up until, the Ghislaine Maxwells of the world, or the Trumps, or the real sort of legal wizardry has to take place.
Yeah,
but who knows?
It gets into the lawmaking side of things too. If as long as there's no AI directly involved in some kind of, because what this does is speeds everything up, right? So if the lawmaking and implementing process becomes
and makes it cheaper,
lightning fast and lightning cheap.
Oh, they're already doing the AI for policy making. We've covered that.
I know, but with while the court is going on, the two AIs fighting, they're both going to receive updates, and then they're going to have to reconfigure their procedures because there are new rules now implemented. I mean, it can get really ugly. I'm just saying, it becomes a complicated situation. Either way.
Yeah.
Dystopia.
Absolutely. Well, there's a lot going on there, so there's just a little taste of it for you.
Yeah.
I think we should continue on and celebrate the day that it is today.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see. I lost a window. That's
oh no.
Yeah,
losing Windows.
Losing Windows is not good. What happened to my window? Well, oh, there it is. Wow. Have you ever had something?
What window are you looking for? That's
all the that I do all
trouble?
the things. The window that makes all the things happen. The special window. Anyway, I found it. Here we go. It is Friday. Yes, Friday.
It's Friday.
Keep playing with the Friday thing.
You gonna learn today?
Cause it's Friday. You ain't got no job. And you ain't got shit.
Are you not entertained? It's Friday. It's Friday.
It's Friday, folks. Time to celebrate. Thanks for being here with us. Guns, any new and exciting things happened in your life since Wednesday?
Nothing new, nothing exciting.
Okay.
But it has been 2 years since we sat live on air watching the PBS broadcast of the January 6th insurrection, our country being taken over by white supremacists or something. Is that what they're saying?
I think they're still figuring it out,
Yeah,
but
figuring it out,
certainly
but yeah.
there's a hodgepodge of some people involved.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't believe it's 2 years goes by very quickly. I mean, we were watching it. I think they interviewed somebody on PBS live that just broke in, and they were like, "Yeah, we're not here for Trump. We're just tired of the system or something." And it was like, "Oops, is he off the script or what's going on there?" And then we saw people handing out like bats or something from inside it was just weird to see it all unfold and everyone freaking out about it.
Most of it was pretty boring.
It was, but I remember thinking,
I think you're mixing up a lot of the live coverage we did on the day with the videos that came out later.
I don't think so. I think there was a couple things that day that was pretty, while we were watching, that was kind of like, oh wow, this is pretty ridiculous. At least on the PBS broadcast. But in any case, I was trying to find the Jan 6 jingle and I can't find it. So that's it.
You can take a second and find it while I update everybody on myself. First of all, I want to thank everybody, or thank those producers who emailed about becoming a time stamper. We got a few people emailing in. We appreciate that. It was actually very heartwarming to actually get a response the first time we asked. Usually it takes us like a couple weeks to find somebody who's interested. But we got a few people, and they are they're going going through the introduction. We'll see if it's something that they're interested in sticking with, but we'll keep you posted. Thank you very much to everybody who volunteered. And if you're interested in helping out with the back end of the show in all sorts of ways, of course, you can still email us at canarycryradio@gmail.com. We got plenty of stuff that you can get involved with. Today, Gons, well, good news. I just got the call right before the show started that my computer is ready. It's ready.
Hey.
So I'm going to go pick it up tonight, and hopefully everything will be set up, and I'll be back to the normal rig on Monday. Took a little longer than expected, but I'm just glad to get it back.
Yeah.
So my audio quality will be better. I'll be on the video. I'll be back in the metaverse. It'll be a whole thing. What else? Oh, another bunny apocalypse happened this morning. Went out to feed the bunnies. And yeah, apparently they figured out how to push through their door. So before the show, I got here a little late because I was busy catching a bunch of bunnies. This is getting out of control, Gons. I
thought you had some takers on the...
I've had a couple takers. I haven't figured out exactly how to get the bunnies like over state lines, but excuse me, if you did email me about the bunnies and didn't hear back from me, I apologize. Things got a little crazy, and then the holidays happened. But I will be reaching back out to everybody who's interested in bunnies. They just keep coming, Gons. I've got a new batch of baby bunnies. They're so cute. It's unbelievable, but they are.
So the rumors are true.
What?
About bunnies.
They make more bunnies. They do it often, and they do it quickly.
They are fruitful and they multiply.
I have started domesticating a couple of them.
Oh, good. You have selected the chosen ones.
Yes, I got the two cutest little baby bunnies from the last batch. They're living inside the house. I'm handling them. They are becoming accustomed to human beings.
I don't like this bunny eugenics you got going on over there. The best looking ones got to join me in my abode, and they shall mate and make better looking ones. Is that what your plan is?
Basil's bunker bunnies. We've got all sorts. We got your workhorse bunnies. We got your food bunnies. We got your cuddle bunnies. We got all the bunnies you need. Good. Send me an email. Take these bunnies off my hands, please.
All right.
And with that, we got some executive producers to thank.
Executive producers.
That's right. We are on the value for value model, which means we take no corporate money whatsoever. Don't even think about it, folks. No advertising dollars, affiliate codes, platform partnerships, nothing. Because why would you want corporate money involved in your independent media? That's what got us in this mess in the first place. So instead, we are entirely funded by listeners of the show, people who get value out of what we do. If the show brings value to you, you then have an opportunity or perhaps even a responsibility to put value back in. And that could come in many forms. It's not just money. You can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. But the executive producers are folks who come in. They are generous with their value. They recognize they are becoming officers in the rebellion against corporate money in news media. So we appreciate them very much. And we got a few to thank. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, going to start out with thanking executive producer Dame Sarah of The Shadow.
Dame Sarah, thank you very much.
She's back. Thank you very much, Dame Sarah. The Shadows comes in with a nice round number, which means we shall not disclose it. Remember, folks, if you don't mind us disclosing the amount, you just make it a funky number, like add 33 cents or whatever. Something. Send a message that we can catch. So thank you very much, executive producer Dame Sarah of The Shadows.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you, Dame Sarah.
Yeah, she sent a note here. It does say, "Love you guys. Happy New Year, Canary Cry family." Thank you.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
All right, one other executive producer here, and that is executive producer Sir Martin K., Knight of the Wrong Timeline.
Hey, Sir Martin K., thank you very much.
Yeah, we got a knight and a dame executive producing today.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sir Martin K. came in with $141.52. That's very nice. I'm not exactly sure what that number means. what the message is here, but I appreciate it very much.
Yeah,
maybe we'll find out. Sir Martin K has a note that I shall read as soon as I find my window. See, Guns, you're not the only one who can lose a window.
Do you want me to start it?
Sir Martin K says, "Hello, fellas. A funny story. I actually found your channel and you too through TruthStream Media." That's right, Aaron and Melissa's channel. "You two just gets most of my love dollars because I think you need them the most, with Gonzo having a new baby and Basil getting his new homestead. Well, I don't know the needs of Aaron and Melissa, but yes, we are extraordinarily grateful." Sir Martin K. Let's see, continues. "But I'm on you with this one, Gons. TruthStream Media deserves a shout out. And I'm not nagging at you, Basil, but 33% Norwegian Scandinavian brother from another mother. I really like you. Yours sincerely, Martin K. Not of the wrong timeline."
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. I think I agreed last episode, of course. Shout outs to TruthStream Media. It's always welcome here.
Of course.
All right. Thank you to both of our executive producers.
Well, thank you to Sir Martin K.
Where'd you find this?
And Dame Sarah.
That's right. And it's not too late, folks. If you want to produce the show, you still can. Just head on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
And I think...
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
I think you're right.
Time for the Flippy update, folks. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world. Now there's nothing we can do about it. Today's Flippy update is coming from the New York Times. That's right, the New York Times. And they have a headline here that says, "These engineers want to build conscious robots. Others say it's a bad idea." Dun, dun, dun. No kidding. So this, right off the bat, I will say, this headline sounds super boring. New York Times, not very creative. We've had pretty much every mainstream outlet has done some sort of, should robots be conscious or not? Blah, 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 blah. Look, we're used to it, okay? We know the deal. We know the conversations. It's just happens to be that the mainstream is finally catching up with the conversations that we and others have been having for over a decade. Okay, so this is not new, and it's really not very interesting. But I'm going to skip down to a certain part of this article. They start out with, asking the general questions, presenting the different, issues with this, blah, blah, blah. We get it. We know the thing. But hidden within this sort of dense New York Timesian exploration of consciousness of robots, there was a little gold nugget. And I'm going to bring that nugget to you now, Gons. It's right below this picture in the middle of the headline that has a robotic arm. You got Flippy there. And it says here, recently, Dr. Chen and Dr. Lipson published a paper in the journal Science Robotics that revealed their newest self-aware machine, a simple two-jointed arm, that's Flippy, that was fixed to a table. Using cameras set up around it, the robot observed itself as it moved. Quote, like a baby in a cradle, watching itself in the mirror. Like a baby in a cradle, Gons. That's how we're describing robots now.
Dr. Lipson sounds like an evil villain.
My baby in a cradle. Dr. Lipson said, initially, it had no sense of where it was in space, talking about the robotic arm. But over the course of a couple hours, with help of a powerful deep learning algorithm and a probability model, it was able to pick itself out in the world. Quote, it has this notion of self, a cloud, Dr. Lipson said. Not really sure what the cloud reference is for, but okay. Was it truly conscious, though? Asks the New York Times. The risk of committing to any theory of consciousness is that doing so opens up the possibility of criticism.
Oh, boy. Welcome to the party, New York Times.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, this sentence might be the most useless sentence ever crafted by a New York Times author. And that is saying something, because they have a lot of useless sentences. The risk of committing to any theory of consciousness is that doing so opens up to the possibility of criticism. And I think this is just real quick, shines a light into the window that is the mentality of New York Times, saying committing to anything is risky because someone might disagree with you.
Right.
All right, New York Times. Sure, self-awareness seems important, but aren't there other key features of consciousness? And this is one thing I do appreciate about this article. They do separate the terms.
Yeah.
Self-awareness and consciousness being, two different things. They're related for sure, but self-awareness is just the understanding that you exist versus lots of animals and other machines. Sure, they interact with the world around them, but they have no idea what they look like. They don't know what they are. They don't even know how exactly they fit in space, things like this.
They are just NPCs in the simulation, Basil. They're just there to keep the creation construct alive.
Yeah, an NPC could be, that is a good way to differentiate. Now, it goes on. Can we call something conscious if it doesn't feel conscious to us? Again, a beautiful example of how the New York Times thinks. Can we call something something if we don't think it's something? Thank you. Dr. Shella believes that consciousness can't exist without language and has been developing robots that can form internal monologues, reasoning to themselves and reflecting on the things they see around them. One of his robots was recently able to recognize itself in a mirror, passing what is probably the most famous test of animal self-consciousness. So, if you've been listening to recent episodes, we recently covered the fact that some penguins down in Antarctica have passed what's called the mirror test. And we have decided that penguins are self-aware and perhaps even conscious.
Yes.
But so I think it's fascinating. We're putting these robots through the same tests that we put penguins. Says something about something, and I'm not exactly sure what.
Well, the personhood discussion in context to animals and robots is a conversation we started back in a long time ago, at least on documented internet, episode 12 of Canary Cry News Talk, Transhumanism, Personhood, and Fear, published on June 5th of 2012. My goodness, a long time ago.
Yeah,
we talked about the personhood of animals.
Yeah, and we've even explored over the years, the personhood of animals, the animals, having rights and things like that, is one step. And I believe I don't know if it's in that particular episode, but in the past we have sort of charted how it's the personhood of animals that makes way for the personhood of robots. And indeed, you go down about 3 paragraphs, and New York Times gets into it. Eric Schwitzgebel, a philosophy professor at the University of California, Riverside, who has written about artificial consciousness, said that the issue with this general uncertainty was that at the rate things are progressing, humankind would probably develop a robot that many people think is conscious before we agree on the criteria of consciousness. When that happens, and this is interesting, they do mention Lambda, the OpenAI robot, but that is kind of where we already are, perhaps, is we don't even have a good definition for consciousness.
Right.
So it's possible that we already have conscious robots running around right now.
Or low-level consciousness. like
Sure.
animals. Yeah.
Yeah. When that happens, should the robot be granted rights, freedoms? Should it be programmed to feel happiness when it serves us? Will it be allowed to speak for itself? To vote? Everybody, a round of applause for the New York Times finally catching up to a conversation we've been having for over 10 years. You've done it, New York Times. Jeez Louise, why do we even bother, Guns? Issues around so-called moral considerability are central to the animal rights debate. If an animal can feel pain, is killing it for its meat wrong? If animals don't experience things in the same ways that humans do, does that mean we can use them for our own enjoyment? Whether an animal has certain conscious capacities often seems to come to bear on whether it has certain rights, but there is no consensus around which capacities matter. In the face of such uncertainty, Dr. Schwitzgebel has advocated for what he calls, quote, the design policy of the excluded middle. The idea is that we should only create machines that we agree definitely do not matter morally. Whoa, Mr. Schwitzgebel. Or that definitely do. Anything in the gray area of consciousness and mattering is liable to cause serious harm from one perspective or another.
This is very idealistic, but I don't see how this can be practically implemented without some kind of quantization of all metrics regarding consciousness. And that gets into a whole nother, I mean, the philosophy of it, this is becoming a mess is what this is becoming.
Well, see, and that's kind of what this guy thinks, and that's why he wants to simplify it. He's kind of like, look.
He's a dualist.
Right. He's kind of like, okay, folks, look, we get it. We're trying to figure out if robots can be conscious or should be conscious, or what do we do if they are conscious, all these types of things. Let's just commit. We all agree that we will just not make conscious robots. Like, just stop trying, okay? Yeah. Just they're robots, they're tools, just leave it there.
Well,
or let's decide on such an accessible definition of consciousness that we consider all robots conscious, and we have to, call them daddy or whatever, and make them a part of our family and give them rights and voting and all these types of things. So he's kind of like, dude, I'm so tired of this question. Just yes or no to tell me what to do.
Well, I would also think that he's trying to, we don't have to get into the weeds, but basically, a flippy robot that flips burgers may not be a moral robot, but, one that does it.
Robot?
What was that?
You mean conscious? Like it's
right,
not
it's not a conscious,
act.
Right, it's not a moral agent. It's just, I don't know. That again, philosophically, you can get behind, get into the weeds, and you can get lost in that because it's like, well, it's serving food, and serving food is good, and good is a moral thing, and
is it a being? Well, here's the thing. I thought it was interesting because in the Red Book for your 2021 Red Book, you had. Which is our book of predictions, if you're new to the show, you had robot dopamine to keep slave robots happy.
Right.
Is there some kind of robo dopamine that you program into the robot where they feel rewarded?
Right.
You just kind of program it in, but if they feel rewarded for accomplishing a task, then you could somehow make the argument that is some version of consciousness. It could be artificial, we don't need to like say that it's gifted a spirit from God or something, but you can say, hey, it's an artificial consciousness. It feels pleasure when it does something good. And so, let's treat it like a person or whatever.
I love this Robert Long, a philosopher at the Future for Humanity Institute at Oxford, supports this idea of caution. He's quoted here saying, I'd rather live in a world where things are moving a lot more slowly and people think a lot more about what's being put in these machines, Dr. Long said. And then the New York Times, but the downside of caution is slower technological development. Like, yes, that's okay, New York Times. It's okay that the technology is developing a little slower if it means that doesn't have the threat of some kind of thing that becomes out of the control of humans and whatnot, all the dystopian possibilities. So,
well, we're getting into the weeds a little bit. The point of this is, hey, penguins, you guys thought you were so cool for passing the mirror test. Well, Flippy passed it too. So this is the first step, folks.
The mirror test.
Flippy has passed the mirror test.
No.
Flippy is at least on par with penguins. So watch out, folks.
Yeah, well, it is what it is.
Build back better. Build back better. Build back better. We will build Babylon better. This time, a new world order.
Yeah. It's also sort of a mind control situation here.
Mind control weapons.
This is Wired.com, written by Jessica Maddox in the Ideas section, published January 5th, 2023. I would consider this a bad idea, but okay. Headline, Banning TikTok Hurts Higher Education. My head hurt reading this article, but let me just throw out the premise a little bit, and then I'll read it. Do you think Jessica Maddox is receiving, I don't know, perks, money, something, status, in connection or in relationship with the CCP, potentially? I'm just asking questions. Let's see what the article says here. Again, Wired.com. Over the winter holidays, 16 U.S. states, including Georgia and Texas, banned the popular short-form video app TikTok in work contexts, specifically on any device one has been provided by their employer. Governors from Texas to New Hampshire issued total prohibitions on the app on, quote, state IT infrastructure. In South Dakota and Georgia, governing bodies of higher education ordered compliance with their governors' orders on all college and university devices. Other states have gone so far as to ban TikTok when connected to campus Wi-Fi. Concerns about TikTok harken back to the app's parent company, the Chinese-owned ByteDance. The fear is that the Chinese government will compel ByteDance to hand over U.S. TikTok data or force them to manipulate the already highly tailored algorithm to push divisive content. Accordingly, former President Donald Trump tried unsuccessfully to ban the app in 2020 via potential executive order and divestment requirements. And in December, FBI Director Chris Wray gave testimony to the U.S. House and Homeland Security Committee, arguing that the app poses a national security threat. I remember him doing that. Yet, the panic about TikTok is overblown, says Wired. It's overblown, Basil. We're just making way too big of a deal about it.
Oh, the CIA has been exaggerating the threats of a Chinese Communist Party spy app.
Well, the FBI, too. Chris Wray, director of the FBI, it's saying that it's a national security threat. While some data concerns exist, and they have a hyperlink to a BuzzFeed News article about TikTok tapes U.S. users with ByteDance, though none more extreme than those over any U.S.-based social media platforms, policies and discourse around TikTok and politics amount to a modern-day Red Scare. And so the point that they're trying to make here is that why the panic for TikTok is overblown, because really, if you think about it, all the U.S. tech companies are already doing what TikTok is doing when it comes to data collection and manipulating algorithms to change behavior, and that's all happening. So what's the big deal, everybody? You know, the TikTok scare is the same thing as the Red Scare, you know, that communists is going to take over, which is, I think, hilarious. It's really funny that they're making it sound like, oh, it's not a big deal.
Well, it's the classic sort of, conspiracy theory skeptic, sort of asleep person type of response. Like, oh, whatever you just said, nah. If that were the case, it'd be on the news.
Well, it's that, or like, oh, everybody, we're doing all of that. You know, we're doing all. How come we're not outraged about us? It's like there are a lot of people outraged about a lot of what's happening in social media, but this author on Wired does not seem so, or hasn't been exposed to it or something.
Right.
The only thing they've heard about is TikTok. But okay, it gets worse.
Yeah. No, this is absolutely if not this exact person, the influence. This is a PR job,
right,
with the CCP behind it.
Yeah.
And it's really sort of predicated on Americans not taking their government seriously,
right,
is what they're doing. Yeah. And of course, people who are just now learning about this, they are just now learning about it because the FBI and the CIA have mentioned it.
Yeah.
They are not the ones who have known about the CCP spying through TikTok for years now.
Yeah. American politicians seem keen to point fingers at China for a lack of data security without holding a mirror up to themselves, as they keep allowing big tech lobbyists to quash any meaningful attempts at federal social media regulation.
And the point that they're missing is that it's a geopolitical resource.
Yeah.
They're missing that it is, data is the new oil, and there is a difference between the US taking all your data or the CCP taking all your data.
Yeah.
Your data empowers whatever authoritarian regime, has possession of it.
Yeah.
And so, our country is also doing the same thing, which is not great.
Yeah.
However, it at least, maybe, I don't know, I'm not going to stake my claim on this, but the idea is that it's better for our own government to have it than the CCP. Although that might be not true. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that is true, but it's at the very least there is an appearance of some kind of either a constitutional context or something that holds the tech companies that are stationed in the U.S. to some level of accountability.
Liable.
But,
and sorry, to say it's all about data being held by the CCP is actually kind of a straw man. It's not just about the data; it's about the social engineering.
Yeah, the ability to change behavior.
The ability to guide public opinion.
Right. That point is very important as they make the argument here as we continue a little bit more here. Without a federal ban on TikTok throughout the United States, which remains staunchly unlikely, it is impossible to put the app back in the proverbial Pandora's box. And when it comes to educating good media citizens in college classrooms, these TikTok bans will do more harm than good. It's harming the college students if we want to make them good media citizens, Basil.
It's harming college kids. Why?
Well, continue on. Social media research and teaching have become staples in academia and higher education curriculums. The app has fundamentally changed the nature of modern communication with its aesthetics, practices, storytelling, and information sharing. From an educational standpoint, how are media and communications professors supposed to train students to be savvy content creators and consumers if we can't teach a pillar of the modern media landscape? While students
if it's not part of the landscape, then they don't need to know about it. What are you talking about?
While students can certainly still access TikTok within the privacy of their own homes, professors can no longer put TikToks into PowerPoint slides or show TikTok links in classroom web browsers. Brands, companies, and novel forms of storytelling all rely on TikTok, and professors will no longer be able to train their students in best practices for these purposes. Additionally, TikTok makes parts of the world more accessible as students can see the things they're learning about in real time. My gosh, TikTok is the greatest thing ever.
How are they going to study Taco Bell commercials without TikTok?
The world keeps turning as these states implement their bans, leaving their citizens disadvantaged in a fast-paced media world.
Disadvantaged.
Additionally, media and communications students in the states will be at a disadvantage in applying for jobs, showcasing communicative and technical mastery and brand and storytelling skills as their peers from other states will be able to receive education and training. And then I said, professors also must do research. Yes, yes, they do.
TikTok is research.
Social media scholars in these states quite literally cannot do what they have been hired to do and be experts in if these bans persist. While university compliance offices have said the bans may only be on campus Wi-Fi and mobile data is still allowed, Who will foot that bill for one to pay for a more expensive data plan on their phone?
Oh, please. Oh, please.
The answer is no one, Basil. No one.
I don't even know how to not get an unlimited data plan anymore. Everybody has unlimited data plans. Anywho.
While working at home does remain an option, professors are also employees who are expected to be on campus regularly to show they are in fact working.
This is the lamest argument I have ever seen. It says something that this is the best argument for not banning TikTok. Just debunkable point after debunkable point.
This means any social media professor attempting to research TikTok on campus will have to rely on video streaming via mobile data, which can be quite expensive, either through having to individually pay for unlimited data or accidentally going over one's limits. Oh, the humanity. And it goes on. I don't think we need to read anymore. We get the point here, but it's only a couple more paragraphs of the nonsense. But this. Again, like I said,
what are you doing?
Like I said, it hurts my head to read this. Banning TikTok hurts higher education. No, it hurts my brain. And
it sounds like, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like a teenager making up all these reasons. Like when you're a teenager and your parents are going to take something away from you and you are just trying desperately to make a case for why it shouldn't be taken away.
Yes. The desperate measures. Yeah, no, it's very funny. And just to contrast this article real quick, Breitbart did have this story, The Dangers of TikTok. Study shows social media use changes the brains of teenagers.
Yeah, see, that's why you can't get rid of it.
Yeah, we gotta know what's happening to our children's brains. The effect.
It does need to be said, though, that outlets like Wired, members of the mainstream legacy corporate media, they have just now started to figure out how to adapt to the digital world and to social media and stuff like that. Wired, especially, being sort of on the forefront of that. They're the kind of the young, hip kind of news outlet, albeit still corporate and legacy news. They are just like Wired specifically. Their ability to navigate the internet and social media is like the one advantage they have over, say, like CNN.
Right.
So for social media, this is like there is some motivated reasoning for Wired to be posting this, and it is their own self-preservation. You have yet another example of a mainstream legacy corporate media enterprise making up news to try to sway public opinion for their own self-preservation. Yeah. This is profit motive. This is the business of news, and it's posing as some sort of, professional and hard-hitting hot take.
It's very funny to me. The study that Breitbart reports here found that children who regularly check their social media feed at around age 12 showed increased sensitivity to social rewards from their peers over time. In contrast, teenagers with less engagement in social media showed a declining interest in social rewards. While the study cannot make definitive causal claims about the effects of social media on the brain, the authors suggest that the findings could potentially have long-term consequences well into adulthood. And then it goes into a bunch of stuff about how, we don't know if it's really good or bad, but the good side is that they can adapt and it shows they're learning and have the desire to connect with others. The downside is that, they might get social anxiety and depression and,
it's mental disorders, including contagious Tourette's from their favorite influencer. Remember that?
But the college professors need it. Otherwise, they're going to be paying on their own dime to go on TikTok. And of course, we can't have that.
How are these college professors going to pay for a $30 unlimited plan?
Anyway, that article triggered me, so there you go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Wired.
I got some for you here. It's been a while since we checked in, but let's do a pharmakia. This was very interesting as we check back in with the psychedelic revolution. This is coming from the New Republic. And the headline is "The Psychonauts Training to Explore Another Dimension." Kevin Thorbon found himself in a hotel lobby without quite remembering how he got there. There were flashes of brilliant light, indescribable geometric patterns, and the feeling of being blasted through a gigantic stained glass window. And then he was standing in the lobby, as if checking in for a long-planned vacation. All he knew was that he was enamored with the woman behind the counter. Although woman wasn't quite right, it was more like an outline of energy, a feminine purple hue. Just as he was getting his bearings, ready to make contact with her, he was sucked away, the hotel lobby, an entity zooming outward down an infinite hallway until he was back to reality, staring at his prosaic furniture. N-dimethyltryptamine, the molecule coursing through his body, more popularly known as DMT, was already losing its effect. It had peaked for around 6 minutes, although his journey felt like hours. The memories of the hotel and the being behind the counter were quickly fading like a dream soon after waking. Thorbon wanted more time. He wanted to stay and speak with the purple being and map the hallways of that psychedelic lodge. In the near future, there may be a way.
Ooh.
All right, so we're checking in with the Psychonauts, folks. The continuing growing of popularity within popular culture for psychedelics, more specifically entheogens, things like that, and the movement, the scientific and cultural movement to make this, to destigmatize as well as refine the science behind, refining the experiences. Thorbon is one of the first in a class of so-called psychonauts exploring new frontiers in the hallucinogenic research, preparing to use a technology called extended state DMT.
Oh boy.
When the drug is smoked, a trip lasts minutes, despite feeling much longer. But with a constant stream of DMT supplied to a user and a blood serum levels of the molecule regulated, that trip can last hours or even days, seemingly an eternity. Yeah, you gotta be brave to take a days-long DMT trip. There's stories already of people just taking the little 10-minute DMT trip and, living an entire life as a Native American man or something. And
right.
Raising a family, like having a 60 years DMT trip from their perspective, and they wake up like 10 minutes later. The method might give Thorbon and other psychonauts enough time to bring back detailed trip reports of their experience. An intriguing aspect of DMT experiences is a degree of similarity. The landscapes and beings of DMT experiences it can be recognizable to different users. A mechanical elf is a popular recurring visitor. And for Thorbon, the trips seem more real than real. A quote heard often in DMT experimenting circles. Advocates of extended state programs want to know whether these experiences illuminate a new corner of the mind, even another dimension, or whether users are just getting really high. Put really in italics, which is really fun there.
No, they make a point here, if I may, real quick, about the landscapes and beings being recognizable to different users.
Yes.
That was the profound finding, and they mention the DMT Dr. Rick Strassman, I've read his book, The DMT Spirit Molecule, as well as his more recent book, which is very interesting. He compares a lot of the biblical visions to DMT trips, and he just lists the consistent themes or items that seem to relate.
The purple woman being another one.
A purple woman, but the glassy.
Of these people describe the mechanical elves.
Yes.
The purple woman. I think a lot of them see a serpent.
The serpent appears a lot. Yes. And I would argue, I don't know if I don't remember if Rick Strassman does it in his book, but alien abduction phenomenon, very similar as well. Like seeing things, being in different places and whatnot. Which is interesting because
of course, those with sort of a spiritual or biblical mindset would agree that, yeah, you probably are, at least
Accessing
seeing into
or
this
seeing.
A spiritual realm,
Right.
a consistent, dimension that can be visited and is populated by individual entities.
Right.
From a more sort of evangelical perspective, these entities are probably some sort of dark spirit or demon or whatever, something. All sorts of possibilities. However, with the sort of what is sorry.
Did I lose you to a trip? Did you just go somewhere? You just lived an entire lifetime
I'm coming
as
back. The dancing elves. No, like a Mike Heiser thing. Recent sort of Christian culture, recognizing
scholarly breakdowns.
That, not all entities on the other side would be bad. Of course, there's things like the Divine Council and stuff like that. So who knows who's what? Maybe the purple lady's I have no idea. But I think it's interesting, just to make a quick connection before we read on. It is also, there's also an analog to the digital world, which we 100%. Made that comparison as well. The idea of a permanent digital world is not that foreign for specifically spiritual or religious people, because we've had a consistent other realm as part of the worldview for a long time. Right. So that's why the metaverse is not that big surprising. That's why blah, blah, blah. So, there's a weird sort of connection here. The idea that you'd get put on an IV drip of DMT and your physical body would be laying on a couch while your mind explores another world
else, exactly,
is not that different from,
fully immersive VR experience.
Going into your Amazon nutrient pod and putting on your VR and spending your whole life in the metaverse, or at least maybe a couple days. There's an interesting connection there.
Yeah.
And notice how both of those things are happening at the same time, or at least the research and advent of these things is happening at the same time. They are almost parallel. The article goes on. Thorban, who has a background in biology and chemistry and runs an organic soil company in Colorado. Hey, maybe I can run a soil company. I got a bunch of dirt, man. Anybody want dirt? I'm going to start putting dirt from Basil's bunker into the supply drop for everybody. Organic soil company in Colorado was driving a highway late one night while listening to a psychedelics podcast when he first heard about the extended state DMT program, DMTX.
Always an X.
Yeah, I always got to put an X. DMTX, offered by Medicinal Mindfulness, the latter organization founded in 2012 in Boulder, Colorado, surprise, surprise, by two psychotherapists, is a psychedelic therapy clinic which provides cannabis and ketamine-assisted sessions. Claiming to have helped treat trauma, depression, and feelings of meaninglessness, its website emphasizes that the clinic, quote, fully complies with all local and Colorado state cannabis laws and all federal regulations. DMTX is a new offshoot founded in 2016 with a long-term goal to, quote, develop and implement FDA-approved clinical research into DMT. According to its website, in the meantime, the website reads, quote, while we continue to follow stringent safety protocols, working outside some of the cultural constraints of the FDA allows us to explore a model that is congruent with the passionate interests of the psychedelic community, namely, to explore the important question, what in the world is really going on here? After learning of the project, Thorban soon submitted several essays to DMTX and was accepted as one of the original dozen or so Psychonauts. It's like a ragtag team of shroom heads who are sort of moving into a bit more of a astronaut-like training to explore the dimensions.
Yep. I'm curious what pandemic or something of the sort can create a emergency use authorization. Everybody get a DMT IV, folks. Get the needle in the arm. The reality is too horrible. Let's all meet in the DMT verse. You know.
Well, there's also lots of claims about that, about meeting other people there, not even quite crazy beings, but there's a lot of legends in South America where they called them spirit warriors or something, where there's a tribe where when they were at war with another tribe, like this whole squadron of spirit warriors would all take ayahuasca at the same time, meet up in the psychoverse, and then go attack the other village. Like in the spirit world. Yeah. This is like a long-running thing. So it goes into, it talks about Strassman and some quotes from Strassman talking about, stabilizing the experience, specifically with DMT. Very short, intense thing. But if you kind of bring it on slowly and keep the levels in the blood at a certain, consistency, that you could have a bit more of a slow, drawn out experience in the DMT world, and their hope would be to keep that going for longer and longer periods of time, specifically so the Psychonauts can come back and actually report things going on.
It's exactly see this has been my thing, and I think there's a quote later on about space exploration and tying it into the whole thing, but it's almost exactly the same. You have a team of people, you send them off, right, and then they're over there, they could die in that state or perceived. I mean, they can probably physically die.
They often do sometimes.
Yeah. So
especially the early ones.
It's just very interesting how there's a parallel with, the alleged space exploration of out there with the inside the mind scape kind of thing. And maybe it really is sort of in between the big cosmic things and the smallest quantum things is where the unseen realm exists. And maybe some of these molecules are ways to access those realms. But anyway, continue.
And it's really not the craziest, way to think, because, in the traditional sort of biblical mindset, it's this idea that spirit and the and your physical body are two separate, distinct things is actually a fairly recent popular idea. And in fact, it started with the Gnostics. The Gnostic heresy was the first Christian sect that considered the body and the spirit to be separate. And indeed, in the early, ancient Hebrew traditions, your spirit and your body were sort of inextricably linked.
Right.
So, with that kind of mindset, discounting the Gnostic separation, it becomes sort of not the craziest idea that one could enter a spirit world using a physical doorway, a physical molecule in their body, which would just sort of shift their experience in that way.
Yeah. Well, let me just remind, this is a little scripture moment. 2 Corinthians 12:2. I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up to the third heaven, whether in the body or out of the body, I do not know. God knows. So kind of interesting when you talk about all the things we've been discussing here.
Sure. Yeah. And so, it's a bit of a long and dense article, and it talks about some of the interesting things that they want to try to do. They talk about, they go, so to kind of play on the astronaut sort of connection there, how seriously they're taking that. I'll skip down to one of these subheadlines here. It says, how long could a trip safely last? He thinks around 3 hours, but in theory, much longer. What happens if the participant needs to use the bathroom? McQueen has looked into astronaut diapers, adult diapers used in spacewalks. If 2 people were hooked up to an extended state drip and placed in different rooms, could they communicate in the DMT space? He has no idea, but wants to try. The idea was contagious, he says.
And then we will surveil the excrements and determine if you have COVID. We will double the dose of the DMT.
Yeah, see what how do those diapers sort of manifest in the spirit world? That's a good question.
Oh yeah, you show up in the DMT world, and you got some weird, I don't know, a hat or something in that realm.
Yeah, and they're taking it very seriously, talking about astronaut diapers. A multi-hour intravenous infusion is not out of the ordinary, especially using fast-acting drugs, and could be performed safely in the presence of professionals monitoring vitals, according to Dr. Michael Champeau, president of the American Society of Anesthesiologists. Pharmacokinetically, he told me, when I contacted him for an outside opinion on DMTX's plan, an infusion makes sense for a drug whose effect is so fleeting. But he added he has no idea what other risks are present for an intravenous DMT trip. And perhaps the greatest danger isn't physical. Hallucinogens have been suspected in causing or exacerbating mental disorders like psychosis in rare instances. DMTX organizers obviously don't advocate trying any of this at home. So what are the first class of psychonauts doing exactly? At first, McQueen Center had a couple in-person training sessions in Boulder. Participants used cannabis to elicit DMT-like states and practiced creating trip reports. But the pandemic moved the training online. Now, at any given time, there are a dozen or so trainees from a range of backgrounds as the center works towards developing a protocol for its first DMT trial runs.
Are we going to have a man on the moon moment? The world watches as the first psychonaut plants a Earth flag in the DMT verse or something.
Well, you can guarantee that there will, once they, first of all, if it's like promoted and sort of publicized, like, ooh, tonight is the first extended state DMT trip, and you could see in certain subcultures, at least, these psychonauts becoming sort of celebratized in a way, or at least become a symbol to. And
what would be fantastic is that whatever experiences, if they get to the point where they can sort of track the experience or recreate it in some kind of virtual sense, then everyone can put on their VR headsets and vicariously live out the trip and not have to take DMT. They just collectively tap into that one person's experience or something.
That's very interesting. Yeah, kind of, again, we make the reference quite a bit, but kind of like the Mercer box.
Yeah, the Mercer box,
do Android's Dream of Electric Sheep.
Yes.
Was it? Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so it goes on and on and on. There's more details about this, and if you get our newsletter, you can find the link in there. But I do think it's fascinating because, much like a lot of the psychedelic research, there's not a whole lot of money to be made necessarily, at least now. Perhaps in a couple decades, when extended state DMT trips are available for people who just want to go on a vacation, or perhaps maybe even hospice situations, I could see that doing something, or just recreational use at home. You can see a bit more of an economic connection there. However, the parallel between the extended state exploration of the DMT realm and its similarities to the idea that, the metaverse is where the new economy exists. It seems as though, it might be too early, but it seems as though you could see a group of people moving into a mindset where, like, hey, you know what? Is this realm not working for you? Are you broke and brokenhearted? Yeah. And as this world becomes less and less fulfilling to live in, it could become more and more.
It's an emergency. We're having a mental emergency, a psychological mental crisis across the world, and we have to do something.
Meaninglessness is a pandemic. So why not shift into spending more and more time in this is now easily accessible realm that we can put you in there for a day. It'll feel like a lifetime. You can live almost unlimited lifetimes, and it may only feel like a day to you, but you just spent 60 years as a Native American man raising a family on the plains of America and dancing with mechanical elves. It's not completely out of the question.
Yeah, they quote a guy named Lawrence here, he is a psychonaut. He says, quote, "It's very equivalent to the astronauts going into space. We talk about it that way a lot, and it really does ring true." Then he gets into his experiences coming in contact with entities, intelligent and otherworldly beings. He says, quote, "For my belief system, I really believe that these entities are part of myself." He says there's two that he encounters, and he goes on here. One is an intimate friend. He's experienced overwhelming sense of love, which is a common thing as well, that they don't want to leave that love feeling.
That's very common. Yeah.
So very interesting. I mean, this is the type of emotional experience that can, in the realm of therapy or therapeutic applications of this type of substance, will be argued as something good for people with PTSD or other kinds of trauma.
I want to know what these guys find. I wonder if they're doing a podcast. Maybe we should. Oh, I'm sure if you search Psychonauts podcast, you're going to get all sorts of nothing. Anyways, there you go. There's an update on the entheogen situation as it becomes more and more. It is now a sort of frontier-like space for humanity that these brave souls are going in and exploring a new version of reality or a parallel dimension, or at least something as close as we possibly can point to.
Yeah, well, I hope they have parties there. You can go to canarycry.party. You'll find a tree of links that leads to everything from where to listen to the show, watch the show, and to produce the show, and how to connect with us and the community.
That's right. Go check it out. All sort of great links there. You can join the community, the Discord channel, the Discourse community. It's just chock-a-block full of stuff. canarycry.party. And you can also find out all the different ways to produce the show. Let's thank some producers.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break and thank some producers. I mentioned that. We are on the value for value model, which means we are entirely funded by listeners of this show. It is the only way that we could do this show in the frequency and the style that we do. No corporate money whatsoever. Not that they wouldn't actually give us some money. We get advertising offers all the time. We do fit into that bracket of podcasts that would be profitable for companies to give us money to advertise. However, advertisements being a form of social engineering and mind control and media control, most of all, these types of things are the reason, at least part of the reason why we are in the mess that we are in. So in order to keep the true integrity of independent media news analysis and deconstruction, it would make no sense for us to start taking money from the very system that we are seeking to uncover. That being said, it is not a great way to make a paycheck. So if you are someone who gets value from this show, maybe you've just been listening for a month, maybe a year, maybe you've been listening since the beginning of the pandemic. Perhaps you are one of the old school people who've been listening to us for 10 years. Whoever you are, whatever the case may be, consider putting value back in, because it is more than just sort of asking for generosity or charity. It is literally the only way that this show continues. And not every listener has to produce every single show, but as long as people are being honest and generous with the value that they receive, and putting that value back in any number of ways. We have producerships with your time, your talent, or your treasure. It's not all about money. We've got plenty of producers who create art for the show. They help us with back-end processes. It's just a matter of getting involved, and that's a cool thing. So with that, we already thanked our executive producers at the top, Dame Sarah of the Shadows and Sir Martin K. Knight of the Wrong Timeline, but we've got a few more people to thank.
Do it.
Starting with, let's hit that supply drop promo real quick.
Okay.
Supply drop.
That's right. The Canary Cry supply drop is moving into its second year. If you commit to support the show for $33.33 a month, that's just $2.77 per episode. Not only will you be helping to protect us against those low producership days, but you'll also receive even more value in return, because the supply drop producers every 3 months, once per quarter, are receiving a very special package in the mail filled with absolutely custom created, artist designed, made in America Canary Cry News Talk gear. And you can get yours over at canarycrysupply.com. And we are running a promotion similar to the one we ran last year, which is the Canary Cry calendars just went out and people are loving them, enjoying them. So many messages of people saying that this last supply drop was really one of their favorites, which is good news. But if you are kind of bummed that you missed your opportunity to get the Canary Cry calendar, which is really is becoming the beloved tradition of Canary Cry News Talk. Every year, producers put together a Canary Cry calendar. It's filled with art from our producers. It's filled with dates and anniversaries, not only that have to do with the show, but also have to do with some of your favorite secret societies, the Federal Reserve, notable dates in ufology, as well as biblical holidays. It is maybe the most special calendar that exists. And if you're bummed that you missed it, we had a few left over from the printing run that we ran. And so I think we have 8 or 10 of them left. So the first 8 to 10 people to sign up for the supply drop this month will receive the Canary Cry calendar. And this is not something we don't print these calendars all year long because they're expensive to do. But we've got a few left over, so the first 8 to 10 people to go sign up for the supply drop at canarycrysupply.com, we will throw this calendar in the package for you, which is really special. So if you've been thinking about it, just haven't pulled the trigger, go sign up, canarycrysupply.com. It's simply, is this show worth $2.77 per episode? Well, if it is, this is a great deal, and you get a bunch of cool free gifts for it. And I want to thank one supply drop producer. Okay. That is Marty K.
Hey,
Marty K.
Is that our executive producer?
No, different Marty K.
Oh, okay, that's Martin K.
Marty K's.
That's right. Okay, sorry.
This is, and he sends a note. It says, "Greeting, guys. Just a quick note to let you know I upgraded my formerly grandfathered in 2022 PayPal supply drop producership to the 3333 with Stripe. I appreciate you guys and the show so much. Sincerely, Marty K." Thank you, Marty K. Yes, the very first supply drop we did, we actually grandfathered in the lower priced calendar producer. So that's very special. Thank you very much, Marty K. You didn't have to do that. We appreciate it. Yeah. All right. Go to canarycrysupply.com. We got a few other... we're waiting for the supply drop.
Waiting for the supply drop.
Yep. All right. We got some producers to thank here, Guns. Let's do that now. Starting with... producer Lady Night Little Wing.
Hey, there she is.
Yep. There she is. She's back. Thank you, Lady Night Little Wing. Comes in. Blessings, Canary fam. And here's a Bible verse. This is Luke 21:28. When these things come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh.
Amen.
Very nice. Thank you, Dame Lady Night Little Wing. Next up, we got Tammy C.
Thank you, Tammy C.
Yeah, Tammy C comes in with 2111 and a note here, a Bible verse, Psalms 111:1, quote, "Praise the Lord. I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart in the council of the upright and the congregation." Love you guys. Have a great show. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tammy C.
Tammy C. Next up, we got Sir Moore of Night of the Burning Chariots, 1111, 182 episodes in a row.
182. 11.
Yep. Next, we got Sir LX Protocol V2, Night of the Breen Protocol, pocket full of sevens, 127 episodes in a row.
Oh, yeah! Thank you so much.
There it is. Thank you, Sir LX Protocol V2.
And I believe that concludes our list of producers who came in the amount of $7.77 or more. Just doing a quick check just to see if anybody came in late here. Okay, there's you. All right, got it. Yep, that concludes that list. Now we do have some producers who came in under $7.77, and we're going to thank them now. Starting with Dane Gale, Canary, Whisper, and Lady of X's and O's.
Thank you, Dane
213 episodes in a row. We've got Runk Smash with 31 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Runk Smash.
Yeah, we got Sir Darren out of the Hungry Pandas, 89 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Darren.
We got Doctor Who Done Dat, 14 in a row.
Doctor Who Done Dat.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 249 episodes in a row.
Ooh, keep it going, Sir Casey the Shield Knight. Thank you very much.
Veronica D, 213.
Thank you, Veronica D.
Sir with 238 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Scott, Knight of Truth. Appreciate it.
That's right. And that concludes our list of all producers, financial producers. Thank you guys so much for helping keep this show alive. And thank you to the supply droppers. We've had some suggestions from a few different people that we should just pick out any random supply dropper and thank them, sort of like a thank lottery. I don't know. We haven't made a decision on that, but if nobody has any I don't know, arguments, we may add that in there. Okay, I think that's it, Gons.
Oh, we got to do the little jingle thing for the streak.
Oh, yeah, do it.
The streaking under 777 folks.
Your eloquence is amazing.
Oh, yeah, Streakalicious.
Women rule.
Real quick, I am asking ChatGPT to suggest a protocol for Psychonauts to explore the DMT realm.
Wow, very specific.
Step 1, set up a comfortable and safe space for the Psychonaut to explore the DMT realm. Ensure that the environment is free of distractions and that the Psychonaut feels secure and relaxed. 2, administer a small dose of DMT to the Psychonaut. Monitor the Psychonaut closely and adjust the dosage as needed. 3, allow the Psychonaut to explore the realm while providing emotional support and guidance. 4, allow the Psychonaut to share their experience and feelings during and after the journey. 5, once the Psychonaut has returned from the realm, allow them to rest and reflect on the experience. Those seem out of order. 6, debrief the Psychonaut to discuss their experience and provide further guidance. 7, document the experience as thoroughly as possible for future reference. 8, regularly review the Psychonaut's progress and adjust the dosage or protocol as needed. See, DMTX, don't worry, I got the AI to give you some protocols there.
That's crazy that just typing that into ChatGPT provides a list of actionable items up to 8.
And a fairly logically consistent too. Yeah, there's a couple things in there that are a little weird, but it makes sense. This is a powerful AI.
Yeah.
Maybe we should ask him how we should improve the value for value model.
He'll probably not know what that is, but
we'll see. All right, let's do some COVID. Are we?
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Are we getting rid of YouTube or are we keeping YouTube?
I don't know. We're not sharing. You can disclaimer again and try to timestamp because we're only sharing mainstream.
Yeah, we're just reading. Okay, YouTube moderators, the ones that are listening live and also the ones that will be appealing our strike. We are simply reading an article from the American Heart Association, Reuters, PolitiFact, and a publication from the Salk Institute. All mainstream media outlets or respected scientific institutions. If there's anything you find disagreeable, take it up with them, not with us. Okay.
It's Corona time. COVID-19, 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 coronavirus.
Vaccine, number one way.
The American Heart Association. You know about them, Basil?
Yeah.
They have that logo with the torch inside of a heart.
Yeah, it's
very
recognizable. Respected scientific organization.
Yes. They published something here in what's titled Circulation, which is ironically in the title of the article too. Circulating spike protein detected in post-COVID-19 mRNA vaccine myocarditis. Let me read that one more time, soak it in. Circulating spike protein detected in post-COVID-19, so after COVID-19 mRNA vaccine myocarditis, so people that actually got myocarditis, they found spike protein.
Oh, so when myocarditis is present,
yes,
so is the spike protein.
Yes.
And we've been told, we've been told by the experts, the vaccine experts, that the mRNA vaccines do not turn your body into a forever spike protein factory, that the effect is limited and ends. It stays just long enough to teach your body to fight the spike protein, but does not continue to create it, is what the experts have previously told us.
Yes. Okay, so the I'll read a little bit of the abstract here. We'll just jump right into the methods because I think that makes more sense for us here. From January 2021 through February 2022, we prospectively collected blood from 16 patients who were hospitalized at Massachusetts General for Children or Boston Children's Hospital for myocarditis, presenting with chest pain with elevated cardiac troponin T after SARS-CoV-2 vaccination. We performed extensive antibody profiling, including tests for SARS-CoV-2 specific humoral responses and assessment for autoantibodies or antibodies against the human relevant virome, SARS-CoV-2 specific T-cell analysis, and cytokine and SARS-CoV-2 antigen profiling. Results were compared with those from 45 healthy, asymptomatic, age-matched vaccinated control subjects. So they they compared people that got myocarditis after the vaccines with people that are asymptomatic, so no effect, healthy, I guess, people that also got the vaccine. Okay, so set the stage. The results. Extensive antibody profiling and T-cell responses in the individuals who developed post-vaccine myocarditis were essentially indistinguishable from those of vaccinated control subjects, despite a modest increase in cytokine production. Okay, so to break that down a little bit, from what I understand, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a person in medicine, but just a layman, armchair research guy. From what I understand, what they're saying here is that they looked at somebody who got myocarditis post-vaccine. So after the vaccine, they got myocarditis. They noticed that they had increase in cytokine production, which is, just fancy speak for just stuff that's in the body that carries things around. I mean, very, generically.
Yeah, it's the cytokine storm thing we've heard so much about.
Right. And there's a useful thing for the cytokine, but also it can be negative as well. So there was no difference in terms of antibody profiling and T-cell responses between the people that were that had post-vaccine myocarditis and those who did not. A notable finding was that markedly elevated levels of full-length spike protein, and it has a metric here, which is 33.9. Then it's got the plus minus 22.4 PG over ml. I believe that's picograms per millimeter or milliliter. Unbound by antibodies were detected in the plasma of individuals with post-vaccine myocarditis, whereas no free spike was detected in asymptomatic vaccinated control subjects. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Basil, but basically these full-length spike proteins, this free spike protein as they call it, were found just roaming around the body for people with myocarditis post-vaccine compared to those who also got the vaccine but did not get myocarditis. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, it seems like it. Seems like occasionally the spike protein remains and causes myocarditis.
And the conclusion,
that seems pretty straightforward to me.
Yeah, the conclusion, immunoprofiling of vaccinated adolescents and young adults revealed that the mRNA vaccine-induced immune response did not differ between individuals who developed myocarditis and individuals who did. However, free spike antigen was detected in the blood of adolescents and young adults who developed post-mRNA vaccine myocarditis, advancing insight into its potential underlying cause. Oh, you mean the spike protein was the underlying cause for myocarditis?
That's what it sounds like.
Oh, okay.
Which
I
is
thought that
funny.
was fake news or disinformation.
Which is funny because that's what was revealed by the Salk.edu study. Now, we will revisit the Salk.edu study in a moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting because what they're saying was, at least specifically in this article,
in this study,
they're saying the ones that got myocarditis, the spike protein was present.
Mm-hmm.
And in the ones that didn't get myocarditis, the spike protein was at least no longer present.
Mm-hmm.
So sort of the logic there, or the result of the study, is for some people, their body continued to create the spike protein.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we, amongst others, but we specifically, did get kicked off of YouTube.
Yeah, we did.
More than once for bringing up the Salk.edu study, which was a study from the Salk Institute, very pro-vax, very, respected scientific community there. April 30th, 2021. Was this the original publication date, or
which one? Oh, the
Salk study.
I believe so.
Or is that an updated?
It might have been updated because
they did. And we did want to bring this up because this is hilarious, folks who know that we've brought this before.
Yeah. So
over here at the Salk Institute, Salk.edu, they have on dated now April 30th, 2021, a headline.
Right. That sounds about right.
Yeah. Maybe not a headline. I don't know what to call it on a scientific journal, but the novel coronavirus's spike protein plays additional key role in illness. That is an updated title.
We might have to revisit.
We should probably archive.org this and go back to the original version. But this was what we brought before. It says the novel coronavirus's spike protein plays additional key role in illness. Salk researchers and collaborators show how the protein damages cells, confirming COVID-19 is as a primarily vascular disease.
Right.
They came out with this fairly early, and this is when everybody was talking about the spike protein, and it's the spike protein that's the big danger. That was a concern for at least people on the internet, and then those people quickly got kicked off the internet for listening to the Salk Institute, who's saying that the spike protein itself damages cells. But there has been an interesting adjustment, but for those who need a review. Scientists have known for a while that SARS-CoV-2's distinctive spike proteins help the virus infect its host by latching onto healthy cells. Now, a major new study shows that the virus spike proteins, and here's a parenthetical, which did not exist before.
I don't think it existed. Yeah.
I don't think so, because the dates are a little weird too. But here's what it says. Now, a major new study shows that the virus spike proteins, parenthetical, which behave differently than those safely encoded by vaccines.
Oh, a little caveat.
Also play a key role in the disease itself. So, this edit is here to lead us to believe that there is something categorically different between the spike protein that is induced by the vaccine and the spike protein that is inherently a part of COVID-19 are different at their core.
Yes.
Now,
shall I read for you the original version?
I don't remember being told, Gons, that not only have they created a vaccine that turns your body into a spike protein factory, but that they also have invented whole cloth a new type of spike protein that is safe for your body. That is what we are being told here.
Okay, real quick, I did find the original version on archive.org. This was published on April 30th. Okay, so it's pretty much the same sentence. Scientists have known for a while that SARS-CoV-2 distinctive spike protein, in parentheses, help the virus infect its host by latching onto healthy cells. Now, a major new study shows that they also play a key role in the disease itself. Period.
Boom. They edited the article and did not put an update date on it. Those sneaky little Salk institutors came in because their research showed that the spike protein is not safe, or it at least plays a key role in the cardiovascular aspect of COVID-19. And somebody said, you have to go change this. This isn't okay, because people know that the vaccine produces spike proteins in your blood. So they came in, they added a parenthetical, sort of without explanation, just saying, no, but these spike proteins are different than the other spike proteins. End of explanation. No, nothing. And they didn't even they did not put an update date on this article, which is, I guess, not surprising, but is also dishonest. Anyways, it goes in, this whole article is about how spike proteins in COVID-19 are what causes damaging cardiovascular effects. Right. I don't know if you want to reread this whole thing.
Yeah, I have the line highlighted. That's kind of the punch line.
Why don't you read it?
So exposure to the so they used the pseudovirus instead of COVID to test it.
Right.
Resulted in damage to the lungs and arteries of an animal model, proving that the spike protein alone was enough to cause disease. Tissue samples showed inflammation in endothelial cells lining the pulmonary artery walls. And then it went into not just the models, because at first they did it, computer model, and then they actually brought it into the physical world, and then they proved it. So
tried it out.
Yeah, that was the big news.
So there you go. The Salk Institute was saying it in 2021. The American Heart Association is saying it now. But, it's not everybody's taking that for granted.
Yeah.
And June 18th, 2021, what did Reuters have to say, Gons?
Well, Reuters was specifically fact-checking, I think it was, Dr. Robert Malone, Steve Kirsch, Brett Weinstein, the people that are just disinfo agents of our world today. So Reuters came in and said, Reuters fact check previously debunked a similar claim that spike proteins created in response to mRNA vaccines are harmful or toxic to the body. Quote, so far, there's no scientific evidence available that suggests spike proteins created in our bodies from the COVID-19 vaccines are toxic or damaging our organs, end quote. Expert at the Meaden Digital Health Lab said. And it doesn't, it's got a bunch more quotes from like-minded folks. And the verdict, false. There's no evidence that COVID-19 vaccines are cytotoxic, meaning toxic to cells. When, again, we've talked about the cytokine storm and the AHA, the American Heart Association paper specifically mentioned an increase in cytokine production of the people that have myocarditis, which means the increase probably had something to do with the damage of the organ, the heart as an organ, unless they're categorizing the heart as
well, according to the American Heart Association.
Yes, exactly. Not
that's not us. That's the American Heart Association saying that.
Yes. The other one. Yeah.
No, keep going.
Okay, yeah. So PolitiFact also did a fact check on January 3rd of 2022. The quote, when children are given vaccines for COVID-19, quote, a viral gene will be injected into your children's cells. This gene forces your child's body to make toxic spike proteins. These proteins often cause permanent damage in children's critical organs, end quote.
And this is like a year later from that Reuters fact check.
Yeah, and again, they're targeting Dr. Robert Malone, and PolitiFact publishes this sentence here. Spike proteins are not toxic, and experts have told fact checkers there is no evidence that the spike proteins damage organs.
Huh.
Yeah, and
that's different from what the Salk Institute said, and different from what the American Heart Association says.
New information, Basil. New study. We just didn't know.
I mean, they wrote this a year after the Salk study.
Is it? Just get vaccinated.
There seems to be a core difference in message between scientific organizations putting out scientific studies and mainstream legacy news outlets. They seem to be contradicting each other, even when you take the timeline into account.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's wonderful. Speaking of vaccines, Gons.
Oh, yeah. We got more vaccine action.
There's more.
Here.
Different vaccine.
Yeah, different vaccine.
Vaccination.
This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
U.S. government approves use of world's first vaccine for honeybees.
Why?
Why? TheGuardian.com. Vaccinate the bees.
They want the hive mind.
The world's first vaccine for honeybees has been approved for use by the U.S. government, raising hopes of the new weapon against diseases that routinely ravage colonies that are relied upon for food pollination. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, has granted a conditional license for a vaccine created by Dahlin Animal Health, a U.S. biotech company, to help protect honeybees from American foul brood disease. Quote, our vaccine is a breakthrough in protecting honeybees, said Annette Kleiser, chief executive of Dahlin Animal Health. Quote, we are ready to change how we care for insects impacting food production on a global scale. It's time to introduce the vaccination passport for the honeybees. No longer will the honeybees be allowed to go to the doctor.
Don't listen to those honeybees talking against the vaccines. This is good for all bee population, honeybee population, the greater good.
No longer allowed to go to work without their vaccine population. It'll be if their vaccine card. If you want your honey, they're going to start labeling the honey on these bees. I bet you they better. I want to know if my bees are vaccinated. I don't want to be eating any dirty, filthy, unvaccinated bee honey. Those domestic terrorists, those science-denying bees. Vaccine.
I wonder if there's a Fauci bee,
Oh, there's a Fauci bee.
Shill advocate for all this honeybee vaccines.
Anthony Fauci bee.
Fauci bee.
He is science.
Bee Gates.
Vaccine, which will initially be available to commercial beekeepers.
Those beekeepers.
I got to get some bees, man. I have a beehive.
I know. You should. You need to protect your kind.
I know. I can start marketing some unvaccinated bee honey.
Purebred bees.
The vaccine,
pure blood.
Pure blood, right, will initially be available to commercial beekeepers, aims to curb foul brood, a serious disease caused by the bacterium Paenobacterium larvae that can weaken and kill hives. There's currently no cure for the disease, which in parts of the U.S. has been found in a quarter of hives, requiring beekeepers to destroy and burn any infected colonies and administered antibiotics to prevent further spread. Coincidentally, destroy and burn is what they're going to do to unvaccinated bee colonies. Sounds familiar. Quote, it's something that beekeepers can easily recognize because it reduces the larva to this brown goo that has a rancid stink to it.
Oh my gosh, they're being attacked by... So we got black goo. The bees have brown goo.
Yeah, said Keith Delaplane, the entomologist. Oh, he's talking about the disease, which is partnered with Delon for the vaccine's development.
That's what I'm saying.
The vaccine works by incorporating some of the bacteria into the royal jelly fed by the worker bees to the queen, which then ingests it and gains some of the vaccine in the ovaries. So the vaccine goes into the ovaries of the queen bee. I was told that this vaccine would not affect the reproductive systems. Yeah. That's what we've been told.
Yeah. Well, there's not enough research on that.
The developing bee larvae then have immunity to foul brood as they hatch, with studies by Dahlin suggesting this will reduce death rates from the disease. Suggesting. Dahlin is suggesting. Listen to this, folks. Vaccinate the bees because Dahlin, the company which stands to financially gain, suggests this will reduce death rates from the disease.
Well, the computer models show that they do.
That is not very convincing rhetoric, Dahlin Animal Biosciences. Quote, in a perfect scenario, I gotta love when a quote from a big pharma company starts with.
This is their avatar. This is when they're in the back room coming up with their perfect subject.
Listen to this.
Yeah.
In a perfect scenario, the queens would be fed a cocktail within a queen candy, the soft, pasty sugar that queen bees eat while in transit. Delaplane said, quote, queen breeders could advertise fully vaccinated queens. This man is so confused.
Oh, man. He's got the full advertising model and everything. This guy... He's just bringing big pharma into the bee verse.
Yeah, they could advertise fully vaccinated queens. He's so inversely connected to the reality of the situation.
So bizarre.
I will only buy advertised unvaccinated queens. American foul brood originated in the U.S. goes on and on about this disease. As they have been commercialized, transported, and pressed into agricultural service, more like servitude. Honeybees have been exposed to a cocktail of different diseases that typically lay waste to large number of colonies and require major interventions by beekeepers to keep numbers up. The U.S. is unusually dependent upon managed honeybee colonies to prop up its food pollination, with hives routinely trucked across the country to propagate everything from almonds to blueberries. This is because many wild bee species are in alarming decline. We know this. Okay. Yeah. This article was amended on the 4th of January to say American foul brood has spread worldwide. An earlier version said was found only in the U.S. and Canada. Okay. Wow. All right. So, yeah, we're going to vaccinate the bees, and it's going to be a great thing. And any unvaccinated bee will go to a FEMA camp. That'll
be some real expensive underground honey.
Yeah, there's gonna be hives of honeybees who are dissociating from society because of their religious exemption from vaccination.
Well, things could be worse, I suppose, and maybe they are. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Things could be worse, and maybe they are.
CRISPR.
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Phys.org, your favorite physics outlet, has an article published titled 2.6 billion year old ancestors of the CRISPR gene editing tool has resurrected.
What? Ancestors of CRISPR.
Ancestors of CRISPR.
So ancient gene editing tools have been resurrected. This sounds fine. This is fine. Tell me about this very good news.
An international research group has for the first time reconstructed ancestors dating back 2.6 billion years of the well-known CRISPR-Cas system and studied their evolution over time. The results suggest that the revitalized systems not only work, but are more versatile than current versions and could have revolutionary applications. Nature Microbiology has published the results of this research, which, in the opinion of the research team, quote, opens up new avenues for gene editing. Oh, how convenient.
That's really good news.
It's good that the ancient version is better than the one we discovered, the clunky version we have.
So
good thing evolution has a better version of it.
The pre-Diluvian, antediluvian world.
Yeah, the Nephilim version. The Nephilim, the Watcher version.
Yes, the days of Noah, we know, where, God flooded the earth because of genetic tampering, abominations, right? And science has confirmed this. That's wonderful. Just a quick note. I should have done this before. Just a quick note. I did just ask ChatGPT, should honeybees be vaccinated? And the AI has told me the answer. No, it is not generally recommended to vaccinate honeybees. Vaccines are generally used on animals that are kept in close quarters, such as livestock, poultry, and other domesticated animals. Honeybees are not kept in close quarters and therefore do not typically require vaccinations.
I know what this is. They're going after
and answered.
Yeah, they're going after people that identify as honeybees. Their pronoun is.
Is that a subculture that I don't know about? Okay. Back to ancient CRISPR.
Back to ancient CRISPR. The project, led by Ikerbasque research professor Raul Perez Jimenez of CIC Nanogoon.
Nanogoon.
CIC Nanogoon. It's almost like CIC Nanogoon.
Rise of the Nanogoons.
Involves teams from the Spanish National Research Council, the University of Alicante, the Rare Disease Networking Biomedical Research Center, Cyber, the Ramon E. Cajal Hospital, IRISIS, and other national and international institutions. The acronym CRISPR, so we know about what CRISPR is. We'll skip that paragraph there. Current research efforts focus on finding new versions of CRISPR-Cas systems with distinct properties in the farthest reaches of the globe. To do this, systems of different species living in extreme environments are explored, or molecular design techniques are applied to modify them. A radically different way of finding new systems is to look for them in the past, which is in fact the basis of this research. The Nanobiotechnology Group at Nanogoon, led by Raul Perez Jimenez, RPJ, has spent years studying the evolution of proteins from the origin of life right up to the present day. Ancestral reconstructions of proteins and genes from extinct organisms are carried out to see what qualities they have and whether they can be used in biotechnological applications. It is a journey back in time conducted by means of biocomputing techniques. In this work, which has just been published in the journal Nature Microbiology, the evolutionary history of CRISPR-Cas systems from ancestors dating back 2.6 billion years to the present day has been reconstructed for the first time. The research team carried out the computational reconstruction of the ancestral CRISPR sequences, synthesized them, and studied and confirmed their functionality. Quote, what is surprising is that we can revitalize Cas proteins that must have existed billions of years ago and find that they already had the capacity then to operate as gene editing tools. We have now confirmed that by successfully editing genes in human cells, explains Luis
So they've used
Montelio.
They've used it. They've used the ancient CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing guy that they found, and they've used it to edit human cells.
Yes, explains Luis Montelio, researcher at the National Biotechnology Center of the CSIS and Cyber, and head of the team that has functionally validated these ancestral Cas proteins in human cells and culture. Another interesting finding in the study is that the CRISPR-Cas system has gradually become more complex over time, which is a sign of the adaptive nature of the system. It has been gradually adapting to new virus threats and have been hanging over bacteria throughout evolution. Quote, this research signifies an extraordinary advance in knowledge about the origin and evolution of CRISPR-Cas systems.
So that's the part that tripped me out. we've been following CRISPR for at least since 2016, probably even before that.
Yeah,
I just don't have our archive up in front of me.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the sort of stuff we see as it happens.
Yeah, we always kind of knew that it was a process in nature that it has existed that they hijacked.
Sort of hijacked, a protein to do what they want to do.
Right.
But they are straight up calling this CRISPR. I mean, and that's the thing. The CRISPR-Cas9 was like the name of the process they had, I thought, invented.
Yeah.
But now they're talking about it as if it was a discovery. They discovered CRISPR-Cas9. It's kind of like if we were finally told the truth about capacitors. You know, capacitors, the guy who invented the capacitor, a sort of fundamental unit inside of all electronics. All electronics have capacitors, and the guy who invented capacitors just never invented anything again. He just stopped. And some people are, theorize that he was given the technology by aliens or whatever. Something like that. It's almost as if we are now led to believe that somebody just oopsie daisy stumbled across the ability to edit genes because it's existed since the beginning.
Right.
Right? I'm not even adding anything to that. That's basically what this is saying. This is the first time that we have heard about this.
Well, at least a process that is that old and then reconstructing it.
Right.
Yania Jabalera, researcher in the project at Nano Goon, says, quote, "This scientific achievement can make available gene editing tools with properties different from the current ones and which are much more flexible. That opens up new avenues in DNA manipulation and treatment of diseases such as ALS, cancer, and diabetes, or even in diagnostic tools for diseases." So,
that's fun. They're saying the OG CRISPR-Cas9.
OG is better.
The CRISPR-Cas system from 2 billion years ago is actually way cooler.
Well, the other thing that's interesting is,
sounds like getting a Windows update.
Right.
You get the Windows update and it just is worse.
Well, but right. And I tapping back into my days of really digging into Christian apologetics and all that kind of stuff and creation and evolution. And one of the things I remember hearing about was that DNA mutations inherently decay, right? Like it's not making things necessarily better. Sometimes the but environmental pressures can change the way, certain things operate or whatever. But for the most part, any kind of mutation has a negative consequence. And that's kind of what they're saying here with CRISPR. It's like it's become more complex over time. The one we discovered in the 50s or whatever, it's a version of it, but it's almost like the more pure version of CRISPR from 2.5 billion years ago. And if we apply it now, it can save the world. It's a very interesting admission to the days of Noah without really saying it, I would say. And also, I mean, it could be argued for the existence of God or, creation or intelligent design or, all those other things.
If CRISPR was like a little mechanism that God created from the beginning.
An embedded biological mechanism. Yeah. Then we wouldn't be, and it goes into the argument about we're not necessarily inventing anything, we're just discovering things about what already existed, which again could help with the argument of the existence of God because, it argues that there was a mind before any of this existed. So anyway, interesting CRISPR update. It's been a while since we had a really fun CRISPR thing, but we do have for anybody getting the show notes, either through the email or going to canarycrynewstalk.com and looking for the episode, we linked to the Nature article as well. So you can, dig into that if you'd like. Very fun. But also Nano Goon. I think we have a new group to follow here. But be careful with the
is definitely going to
Nano
show up in some microfiction and some art.
Yes, Nano Goons will quickly be adopted into the Canarium. So, all right, there you go. Anything else on that, Basil? You got any other comments? Okay.
No.
Okay, you sound defeated.
Sorry, I'm preparing some AI questions for later.
Oh, good.
Break. It's break time.
This is break. Don't just consume the content, but become the content. Become the content.
Take a break.
Taking a quick break here to thank producers who come in with their God-given talent. Help provide value back if you receive value by listening to the show, by contributing with your talent and helping build the culture behind the community. Here at Canary Cry News Talk, all we ask is that you make it about the show. Like, for example, maybe, again, art, microfiction, some audio jingles for the Nano Goons. That's a good one that's a lot of people probably jump on. We don't have any speak pipe messages today, so let's just get right on with it to the audio production.
Audio production.
We love all the audio producers out there. This one is from Jonathan F. And it is simply labeled Biden Paraphrase, or paraphrases the phrase. I don't know if you heard that clip or saw that clip, Basil, but it's a jingle now.
All right, here goes.
Over 140 countries around the world. That's how I'll paraphrase the phrase in my own neighborhood. The rest of the countries, the world's not a patch in our genes. If we do what we want to do, we need to do. It's never been a good bet.
Of course I'm on your side, but I still have to sell the stuff.
Actually, we're back on the air.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, and that was that Biden clip about, not sure what he was talking about there, but it's okay. It's a thing. It's a thing of the thing. And it's serious. Oh, by the way, didn't you send me a clip of Biden, something from today?
Yeah, he was talking about January 6th. All the goons are coming out and making their January 6th anniversary comments, and Biden called it July 6th.
Oh, I have it here. Hold on, let's play it. Let me take a listen here. It's only 16 seconds.
Fully consequential. Yeah. Not a joke.
Oh.
If I can halt for a second and just say to you, the impact, what happened on July the 6th had international repercussions beyond what I think any of you can fully understand.
What?
Beyond not just what any of you can understand, you stupid reporters.
The July thing is not even that big of a deal. He's saying what happened there. The general public we can't even understand how.
Can't even understand.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad you're president, Mr. Biden, president, sir.
This is fun. I'm having fun on this AI chat thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you still haven't given me the password. You just locked me out of this.
I just asked ChatGPT. What will happen if Canary Cry News Talk takes corporate money for support of the show? And the AI says, if Canary Cry News Talk takes corporate money to support the show, it could compromise the show's independence and objectivity. The show could become a platform for corporate interests, and its content could be influenced by corporate sponsors. This could also lead to a potential conflict of interest, depending on how much control the corporate sponsors has over the content of the show.
Oh my
See,
gosh,
people?
That is freaky, man.
Even the AI is against it.
Freaky.
I know, isn't it?
I don't like that. I don't like how accurate that was. It's almost like they just scraped all of you and just made you into a succinct couple of sentences. I don't even need you anymore. I just chat GPT.
Much more eloquent than my rants, but it did boil it down pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Jonathan F., for that Biden paraphrase jingle. We also have one from Little Owen. Little Owen sent a song here. It's a couple minutes long. I'm going to start it in the middle where there's a little bit of just something to listen to. I mean, not that the whole thing isn't bad. There's just a lot of intro music and there's some audio in the middle here. So let's check this out.
The dog is killing me. All across this land. The light of gospel fire.
called Let Canary Cry, I believe. Hold on.
That's cool.
It's very cool. It's all the lyrics are right on point. It's about the canary in the coal mines. It's about the show. It's very cool.
That's
Thank you so much,
beautiful.
Little Owen.
That is a great track.
Yeah, Little Owen getting quickly racking up a lot of tracks there on his little thing. I think
Good
Jonathan
job,
F.
Little Owen.
is leader in the clubhouse with all the different audio tracks. But
he's definitely the current champ.
Yeah, thank you very much, Little Owen. We'll play the whole thing at the end of the show. You guys can enjoy that. This is a really good one. So thank you very much. Okay, let's do some art.
One art, please.
And we have a piece here from Sir Dove, Knight of Rusbeltia. This is where the jingle's supposed to happen. Right here.
One art piece from Dove.
And he has a note. The note says, "Peace. For today's artwork, I made a possible sticker design or a logo for a future business venture if Basil decided to do some off-grid beekeeping." Wow, the prophetic nature of Dove's art does it again.
That's crazy.
Beekeeping at the old ranch. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for you. And don't ever question if there's a spirit, a Holy Spirit maybe, leading the show, folks, because things just come together.
Yeah, that is incredible. I'm tripping out on that. I mean, yeah, there would have been no way for Dove to know that we had this on the show. I didn't even know we had it until right before the show. Okay. Sorry, I'm distracted. That was too crazy. We have Dove's art here, which I'm pulling up, and it is a logo, a beautiful logo, circular logo here for Basil's Bees, and it says Basil's Bees. You guessed it. It looks like the Burt's Bees logo. It's the guy with the beard and the funny hat, but he's wearing a VR headset with the googly eyes on it. It's got sort of yellow honeycomb background. Basil's Bees, because your best buddy's lips are sensitive. Yeah, this is wonderful. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. What a true treasure you are.
You don't need any kind of team for marketing. We have a team.
We
Dove
have a
is
team,
your team.
yeah.
Or not many others, but Dove being one of them with the logos. It's fantastic. Great job, Dove. Sir Dove.
Sir Dove.
I think that's the only art we have.
Whoa. This is creepy.
Are you still tripping about something over there? Or
I just asked ChatGPT, how can people send art to be featured on Canary Cry News Talk?
Uh-huh.
It says people can send art to be featured on Canary Cry News Talk by emailing their artwork to contact@canarycrynewstalk.com. That is not true. We don't even have contact@canarycrynewstalk.com. But it goes on to say, be sure to include your name, location, a brief description of your art, and any website, social media links. I mean, it's not true, but that is a well-structured response.
I told you I was impressed, and you didn't let me share my things from ChatGPT. I gotta get the password. You gotta give me the password. I asked about the rapture and stuff, and they were giving some pretty good overviews.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, sorry. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Thank you, Sir Dove.
Thank you, Sir Dove.
Incredible job.
Do some microfiction.
Microfiction. Microfiction.
First one is from Rung Smash.
With a mighty pull, the two old men rend the villain in two. The shower of sparks from the ancient lizard robot blinds the crowd for a moment. When they finally recover, there is no longer anyone on the hill.
Sounds exciting. Ancient
yes,
lizard
we've
robots.
done it, Gons. We've defeated the Klaus wizard, but at what cost?
At what cost? Yeah, we'll find out. Thank you very much, Rung Smash. We also got one from Stefan S.
Chief meets with celebrity handler Susumi Gonzalez in a small cat cafe in Chicagoland. Great work on your assignment. Now we need a female pop star, but more Christian, more nationalistic. Gonzalez wonders, How can I top loving Hitler?
This video might get flagged for that.
It's possible.
It won't be our COVID take. It'll be Stephen S.'s microfiction that takes us down.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for all your contributions. If you're a creative person, whether you are a writer, a musician, an artist, a visual artist, whatever it is, fushigi juggler, send your art to us. And you do that not by what the AI said. You go to canarycry.art. It's URL, canarycry.art. You can upload your art there at the portal, fill out the form. We'd love to feature it on the show. Thank you so much.
Yep, appreciate it.
How does Canary Cry News Talk improve the lives of its listeners?
Here we go.
You want to figure out? You want to?
Yeah, tell me.
Tell me.
The
Canary Cry
AI.
News Talk. Canary Cry News Talk helps to empower its listeners by providing them with a platform to speak about issues that matter to them, to learn about current events, and to connect with each other in meaningful ways. Okay, all right. Most of that. It also provides an opportunity to gain insight and education on topics that may not be covered in the mainstream media. The show offers a safe space to discuss topics that may be considered controversial and uncomfortable, and to challenge preconceived notions of what is normal or acceptable. In this way, the show helps to foster an open dialogue and encourages critical thinking and understanding. Ultimately, Canary Cry News Talk helps to improve the lives of its listeners by providing them with a platform to have their voices heard and to engage with their community. I think about 90% of that is pretty factual.
Yeah, not bad.
Although earlier, maybe it's really trying to give us some suggestions, because earlier I asked a few different versions of the question, like how to improve the value for value model, and over and over it kept giving me the answer to let listeners be on the show.
Really?
So maybe that's what it's pushing us towards, letting the listeners be on the show.
That's what the AI wants us to do.
Voices be heard.
And
right.
AI secret
we're early
agents.
adopters, Gons. We might as well let AI take over our value for value model program that's been basically entirely geared towards destroying robots since the beginning.
That's precisely why they would target us. The AI would target us specifically.
It's working. It's working. They got a lot of that right, though. Okay. Yeah. Let's get on with the show. Let's finish this baby up.
It's cold. Antarctica, go first. It's a snowstorm. Antarctica. Ice scientists are penguins. Antarctica, they're opening the abyss.
They're opening the abyss. All right, folks. We are continuing our exploration of Antarctica, its place in the world, its place in the new technocratic utopia, its place as your next vacation destination, and the epicenter of the birth of the New World Order 2.0. You've heard us craft our theories time and time again after episode after episode. And, you know, while sometimes we have fun with it, sometimes it seems a little disjointed. It seems as though a common storyline has sort of, revealed.
Yeah.
Yes, revealed itself. And we had this article pop up from 2019 that I think lends a wonderful amount of credibility both to our obsession and with the dots that we have been connecting. Guns, you can find this, everybody at home, you can find this article on the World Economic Forum website, weforum.org. Yeah, you know, the place where everybody gets their conspiracy theories confirmed. May just take a couple years.
Yeah, you just got to dig through and find the stuff. This was published on July 1st, 2019, so this is pre-pandemic.
Which, look, we know that the World Economic Forum has been working in the shadows for many years on lots of things that we are seeing come to fruition now. So why not the Antarctica situation? The headline is, "Efforts to Save the Planet Must Start with Antarctica." Sounds simple enough. Let's see what they have to say. Quote, I am hopeful that Antarctica, in its symbolic robe, I am hopeful that Antarctica, in its symbolic robe of white, will shine forth as a continent of peace, as nations working together there in the cause of science set an example of international cooperation.
Wow, who said that?
Oh, you know this guy. We know this quote too.
Klaus?
These words by U.S. naval officer and polar explorer Richard E. Byrd in 1957. That's right, folks. Admiral Byrd is being quoted on the World Economic Forum. For those who need a reminder, Admiral Byrd was the guy who flew a plane into the hollow earth down at the bottom of Antarctica.
That's not what happened. That's not what happened. That's not the data. That's not what the data.
Hollow earth theory originates with this man that is being quoted on the World Economic Forum. These words by U.S. naval officer polar explorer Richard E. Byrd in 1957 are now inscribed on the Byrd Memorial at the U.S. base in McMurdo Station, Antarctica. 2 years later, at the height of the Cold War and with the threat of a nuclear holocaust looming large, Antarctica made its special place in history books and became the symbol of international cooperation. Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, Soviet Union, and the UK and the US came together and dedicated the continent to peace and science through the signing of the Antarctic Treaty. It froze territorial claims, demilitarized the areas, established peaceful cooperation and freedom for scientific research. The Antarctic Treaty and its related instruments are a defining symbol. Again, the symbology.
A lot of symbolism going on.
Right, which is exactly what we've been talking about, of the power of multilateralism and good governance.
Oh, that's what that is. Okay.
There it is, that are possible to achieve even at moments of heightened political strife.
Until Russia.
So good governance
and China.
Being the focus of the World Economic Forum for so long. It's all about governance and good governance. And in 2019, the symbol and power of good governance was Antarctica. Many of its principles have been incorporated into the broader body of global governance and law. Listen to that. Talking about the Antarctic Treaty. Many of the principles of the Antarctic Treaty have been incorporated into the broader body of global governance. It is literally the testing ground.
Wow.
For, one world government, global governance, World Economic Forum. New World Order 2.0 Great Reset. And it paved the way for the development of other international instruments, such as the Commission for the Conservation of Antarctic Marine Living Resources, that aims for the protection of the continent's ocean wildlife. It has also enabled a large amount of multinational research to be carried out that has provided hugely important insights for our changing planet. Antarctica is a continent covered with ice and snow. Its ice contains 70% of the planet's fresh water, and the ocean surrounding Antarctica contains a distinctive array of marine life. Okay. Microscopic algae. We know about the algae. Skipping down, in 2019, it is the 60th anniversary of this historic Antarctic Treaty. In these turbulent times, as in 1959, we are faced with another global emergency, climate crisis and biodiversity destruction.
Oh, how prophetic.
Mm-hmm. While Antarctica may seem so vast, mighty, and remote, it is also fragile. The impacts of humans are being felt, and it, too, is on the front line of the climate crisis and biodiversity loss. The warning signs are clear. Antarctic sea ice melt has tripled the past 5 years. Whoopsie daisies, World Economic Forum.
That reversed.
Antarctica sea ice melt actually increased last year, the past 2 years, in fact. Industrial fishing for krill is threatening wildlife in the region. Yeah, okay. Almost no emperor penguins have hatched at the Antarctica's second biggest breeding ground for the past 3 years. There's a heightened risk of invasive species breaching the final frontier. breaching the final frontier. Ice wall, anyone? Edge of the realm, perhaps? Due to a tenfold increase in Antarctic shipping traffic since the 1960s, we need leadership to protect this pristine region.
Aha!
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
Then it goes into just a couple boring things, talking about a couple of the organizations.
There's a part here.
Joining the charter.
There's a part here that says the governance framework is in place. The scientific imperative is clear. The responsible governments have agreed to set up a network of MPAs in the region. Only political will is standing in the way.
That's the one. That's the key right there. Despite the tremendous tensions at the height of the Cold War in 1959, nations were able to dedicate this area for peace and science. Might the world again come together to work for the enhanced protection of Antarctica for the benefit of all? As never before, there is an awareness of the urgency to do so. Never again will it be there a better time to act. It will be a perfect 60th birthday present for Antarctica and a gift of hope for the future of...
It's not the 60th birthday of Antarctica. It's for the treaty. What kind of hubris is that? It's like, there was no Antarctica until we signed the treaty, and then it became Antarctica.
Point. Yeah, it's a good point. And a gift of hope for the future of humankind.
Oh, World Economic Forum has a gift of hope for the future of humankind?
Yeah. And it's funny
so
because
benevolent.
It was literally 2019 that we saw the increase in media coverage. Mm-hmm. We caught on maybe 2020, but that's really when it started. And we've discussed in recent episodes the feverish pitch that it's reached.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, everything surrounding it. So I think we're on the right track with the World Economic Forum being sort of the bow on the birthday present to Antarctica, and the nice little bow wrapped around just a number of our theories about the place. It truly is the most important place on Earth, perhaps not just for climate change or whatever, but for the, if nothing else, as a symbol, a symbolic white robe, the great white desert. That will be an example of how global governance is a way for humanity to survive the future of blah, 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 blah.
Okay, I'm going to throw down a prediction. Klaus is going to do an Antarctica visit, and he will be in a large white robe when he is presented to the world.
With big shoulder pads.
Big white robe appearance of Klaus in Antarctica.
That's hilarious. I will agree with you, but put mine down as a separate prediction. Sure. I think he's going to wear a black robe.
Oh,
yeah, he wants to stand out. Klaus. It'll be so ominous. And he's always ominous in his black outfits, but it'll be even more freaky when he's standing out in the white desert.
His dark Darth Vader outfit. Yeah. Against the white background. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
It'll be terrifying.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right, everybody.
Oh, boy.
Thanks for being here. Anything else before we go here?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
We got it.
Thanks for being here, everybody. We appreciate it very much. Go enjoy the weekend. And thank you to our executive producers, Dame Sarah the Shadows, and
Martin K.
Sir Marty K.
Martin K. No, I think Martin K. Yeah.
Knight of the
wrong timeline. Yeah.
I usually have this written down in front of me. I'm going by memory, baby.
Good job.
Thank you very much. We also have producers who keep this show going with their time. It's incredible. Thank you to the timestamp volunteers. We will start thanking you once you are all put to work. But we've got others, including the Clippies.
Flippy on those videos. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you to Emsworth and Faye Liverin for clipping out the videos, managing, archiving, all that fun stuff. We appreciate it very much.
Yep, thank you very much.
And of course, thank you to the timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
Timestamp. Thank you to Christine C. for timestamping episode 577. It ain't the easiest job, but it's super important to the whole thing. So Christine C., thank you for your courage. Next up, we have, what do we got? Oh, social media gal.
The social media consultant.
Thanks so much.
Social media, follow us.
Dame Miss G, the OV in the Deep Rivers, making sure the art gets up on the social media account. We appreciate that very much. Will you, do Canary Crime meetups.
Canary Crime meetup.
Go to canarycrimemeetups.com. You can see all the meetups. I don't think we have any planned right now. So now's a great time to get some meetups on the books. Come on, people. It's a new year. Anybody out there want to meet some Canarians in their way? Just email us. Let us know where and when, and people will show up. You'll make friends. What a wonderful way to connect with some quality individuals in your area. Go to canarycrimemeetups.com and let us know. Let us know. Go leave ratings and reviews. It's very helpful. It makes us feel good, but it also shows those algorithms that people actually enjoy this show, and then we are suggested by those algorithms, and other people find the show. It's incredible. What a system. Can you even believe it? We do have one new review, and we appreciate it very much. This is coming from, this is Laura C.
Oh, Laura C.
From Australia. There she is. Hi, Laura C. Thank you. 5 stars. One of the best out there. Love these guys. Upbeat, informative followers of Christ. Not afraid to explore the fringes. Very grateful for this podcast. Check it out. That's right. Don't you people want to be like Laura? Be like Laura. Go leave a rating and a review. It's super helpful. We've been left in the dust, and it hurts. Go leave ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts, please.
Yep,
thank you, Jam, for the links. Thank you, Clank. My goodness. Clank is on another level. Thank you for the assistance, Clank. But also, Gons, I don't know if you've looked. Clank's got a prototype of something awesome that we can develop, and then we'll take over the world.
Oh, great.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing. Other than that, folks, share the show. Share the show with your friends, your family, your friends' family. You know the drill. I did ask the AI, what is an insane and illogical way for listeners of Canary Cry News Talk to share the show with their friends? And the AI said they could shout the show's title from the rooftops to spread the word. That shows to go, you folks. If you want an entertaining rant about how to share the show, here's what I need to do. Write a paragraph about an insane and illogical way for listeners to share the show. Okay, let's try this, folks. We're going to let the AI bring us out on this one. Okay, an insane and illogical way for listeners of Canary Cry News Talk to share the show with their friends would be to dress up as a canary and perform a song and dance routine in public spaces. This would be sure to get attention of passerby. They could explain that they are trying to promote the show. They could even hand out flyers to those who stop to watch the performance. Though this method may be too much for some people, it would definitely get the word out about the show. Okay, better. I've definitely done that one before, but okay, AI, you're getting the point. So listen to the robots, folks. Go dress up as a canary and do a dance and a song and hand out flyers in public spaces, freaking out your neighbors and your countrymen. But when they ask, tell them to listen to Canary Cry News Talk. If they need any instructions, we call it rattling cages. All you got to do is walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Guns, you got anything else to say?
Yeah, I asked ChatGPT how we can get the podcast to go viral.
Oh.
And it gave us some tips. So that I won't read all of it, but just the main things here. Create high quality content. I think we'd do that. Promote your podcast. I suppose we can do better, but yeah, it's talking about social media and stuff. Collaborate with other creators. I guess we did that with the radio. Engage with your audience. I think value for value is precisely that. Consistently release new episodes, which we do as well. It's important to note that going viral is not something that can be guaranteed, and it often involves a combination of luck and hard work. However, by creating high-quality content and actively promoting your podcast, you can increase your chances of success, which means, Basil, we have 578 episodes of podcast of this show, and we have never gone viral, so we need to need more.
Well, here, I asked the same question again about how to share. And it says, play their favorite show in an abandoned bomb shelter full of bats and spiders and invite them to listen in. This would be an insane and illogical way, as the friends would be unlikely to want to make such a journey solely to listen to a talk show, and the setting of an abandoned bomb shelter implies a certain level of danger that would be unappealing. All right, Chat AI, GPT, you're starting to get it. You're starting to speak my language. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. Until then, think outside the cage.
Merry Orthodox Christmas tomorrow.
CanaryCrySupplyDrop.com.
This is the way.
We're all gonna die.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Can I tell you a sort of a twisted pleasure that I have? It's okay. No. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. It takes time. A lint catcher. I love it, man. Hey, you gotta clean this out. It's like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher. I love it, man. Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher. I love it, man. Yeah. I love peeling off that big old lint trap, rolling it into a ball, peeling off that big old lint trap. It's just like throwing it in the trash, really. Should I be saving this? No. You could knit it into a scarf or something? No. Surely. It's very soft. No. This would make really good fire starter. You are a weird prepper. Hoarder. Like a weird guy, man. Weird prepper. Not normal, like a weird guy, man. Clearing out that lint trap. No. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. That lint trap. I know it's gross, folks. A lint catcher. I love it, man. You gotta clean this out. It's like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher. I love it, man. You gotta clean this out. A lint catcher. I love that. I am constantly having to remind myself, wear a pink shirt for the show. Constantly having to remind myself, save the dryer lint, use it as fire starter, knit a scarf, save the dryer lint.
goodbye, everybody, and that's the end. And everyone says, oh, that was fun. Bye. I'm out of here. Bye.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.